Hello, everyone. Professor Melvin Inglestein here with another riveting episode from Sabrina Wallace, the magnificent and majestic Sabrina Wallace. Today, she's going to present to us a discussion regarding what is precision medical care, what is the medical body area network interface, what is point of care, what are the agencies that are deciding the future of humanity or post-humanity on our planet. Sabrina, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, I am doing very well, sir. Thank you.
Well, very good. Well, tell us what we need to know about this business of the medical body area network.
The medical body area network is the primary network in use with our hospitals and our point of care, which is something that we use with e-health and m-health or electronic health and mobile health. This includes something a lot of folks use called telemedicine. When your doctor is calling you on the phone, he asks you questions. But what folks may not know is about something called point of care. Point of care means that the physician who is calling you on the phone for telemedicine can also, in real time, in vivo, and meaning in situ, meaning in place of origin. In vivo is inside the organism. The doctor has equipment or special software that he can pull, POLL, your biosensors, oxygen, heart rate, whatever it is that he wants to see in real time. You do not need to be wearing electrodes. You don't need an oximeter on your finger. You do not need your EKG type of stickers on your chest. And he can still view all of that bio signal or biological electrical signal data. And that is what point of care is defined as in the software and the hardware. Thus, it's a medical body area network instead of just a generic wireless body area network.
Well, Sabrina, how can the medical doctor pull your medical telemetry, your heart rate, your pulse rate, your blood pressure? How can he pull that data from you without any telemetry apparatus devices?
It's a
How can he do that?
telemetry. Good question. It is a telemetry software. And that is why we use modeling software. I showed the W-band Omnet that you can take your Google fingers and look that up on the YouTube, which then shows the physician different ways of getting into those biosensors, depending on if he only wants to look at your liver or he only wants to look at your heart. And the way that that is done is no different than the way they have telemetry in the center of your emergency rooms and hospital floors for many years now, watching all the monitors wired, like we all used to be wired with dial
Right.
up. You had to plug in a wire. Then we went wireless, right? And so the information, instead of flowing down the wire, is going through the cloud. In the same way, when a physician who is licensed to use that telemetry software for telemedicine is using it on his device, he has to be licensed, he has to be trained, and then his device will pull POLL, those biosignals right from you, typically bootstrapped for power, meaning that instead of pulling the data only from your body and letting your body's electricity push all the data, your device or your wireless router, or even your computer screen, it could be any smart device around you. And unfortunately, not to spook folks, it could also just be air molecules that are creating a mesh network near you. Okay. This is part of the ubiquitous computing that we've been testing and utilizing for precision AI healthcare. And that is how the doctor, using specialized telemetry software on his device that is mandated once again by our FCC and FDA and all these different divisions for electronic health records, He can then pull your blood pressure, your oxygen, and point of care, interestingly enough, is also in use for people that have, for example, an acute surgery. Let's say that you had to have your appendix removed. And the way that they speak of it is that instead of having to lay in the hospital, you can go home and you have a very special remote patient monitoring set of software. Now, in the past, my aunt in 2001 died of lung cancer. She had hospice. So they brought the equipment into the home, and then there were nurses that came and went every 8 hours or so. And that has been updated so that your hospice nurse does not have to visit physically as often. There might be special equipment that the hospice nurse leaves next to you so that that same biological signal data will be pulled from there, delivered to their device with special software that tells them what's going on inside your body by biological electrical signals. And that's
Well,
the telemetry.
Sabrina, help me out here. What if you're in a home and there's 3 or 4 other people in the home? How can the doctor's biomedical software trace and target his patient? How does it not pick up the other members of the family in the home who he's not, I don't know what the word is, Frankenstein helping you?
No, that's
So
another.
how does the
Question.
software trace like a Raytheon missile guidance system? Are they using the 5G, millimeter wave electronic magnetic frequency system? Are they using an optogenics type LED light? Are they using a combination of things? How can they get the signature of the GPS coordinates of the patient who the medical advice is or treatment is given to? How is that possible?
Well, the first thing to understand is that when you focus on human anatomy rather than you're not looking for a person by their name, you're not looking for their social security number, and you are not looking for their cell phone. We're looking for your DNA resonance by your actual DNA that only has an imprint that is yours. And
does the doctor already need to have that on file for you?
In order to see your telemetry, their software, without letting the doctor know all the numbers for cybersecurity, okay, the cybersecurity is hidden away in between what's called black box in layer 3 of cybersecurity on the medical body area network. Okay, but on his device, he only sees your bioelectromagnetic algorithm. And that algorithm is written only for you. It only follows you. And there's more. And I have a sign for this.
Okay.
The mesh networking that cybersecurity expert Rob Braxman was referring to in the video I've showed on my channel multiple times works off of something called 802.15.4. And these are industrial Internet of Things biosensors protected by cybersecurity for those electronic health records, also known as H7. Inside of HIPAA are hospitals, and with the company Cisco and their proprietary software and equipment to facilitate precision AI healthcare. Because as you can see here, I hope this is clear enough, you have 2 syncs, that's what they call them, where the biosensors that are floating around all over will wake up and on that telemetry, and then they will pull, POLL, that information to one sync or the other, which then goes out to the bootstrap device or whatever it is that's taking the data. But getting the data out of your body and not hitting another person.
Yes.
Rather than overwhelming everyone, essentially we have 5 protocols in the wireless body area network, one of which focuses on separating bodies all the time. It's constantly running to isolate your body by specific metrics to report to those algorithms, which is then stored in a database only for you. And that's how that telemetry in the black box is sorted away so that when we aim for your stomach or your liver, that's all we're going to get. We are not going to hit this body over here.
Famous last words. If I wear a wore a heart rate monitor, can they target me easier, or does it not make a difference? Because they just look at all the biology in the house and just zero in on the signature that they're looking for.
I'm
In
going to
other words,
answer.
you don't need to have a cell phone in your hand.
No, no, you don't. And that this is something on our channel a lot of folks have asked about because of having a pacemaker or other types of
Right.
embedded
Insulin pump or,
insulin. Yes.
yeah, pacemakers surgically inside them so they can't take it off.
Correct.
And then they're
Yes.
thinking, oh my God, I'm targeted and traced, right?
Well,
And
that's
but
been
you're
the
saying you'd be targeted and traced without it.
correct. Either way, it's just as
I see.
easy to access your telemetry. However, in all honesty, if you one of the first things they started with in the 60s and 70s was the medical implant communication system. So in all honesty, if you have a pacemaker, a pump, or any of those embeddables, it does make it easier to find you very quickly because you're always reporting for your health and safety, for your health and safety. So those databases, because you have a pacemaker or you have an insulin pump, there are
Yes,
specialized routing protocols to ensure that your safety is, it's called quality of service, is put ahead of other folks who don't have those things.
I see. Could you get your sign, put it back up on page 1 where we have the at the top it's reads 802.15.4. I think it's important to realize that these are at the standard for the wireless body area network, as I understand it. That's
Since
802.
2005. Yes, sir.
That's the definition for body area network, that each human has their own unique band.
Oh, no, this is the PAN standard, yes. But the body area network is actually
personal.
Yeah, this is the personal area network, the mesh networking with the PAN, correct.
What's
But
the difference between a pan and a band?
well, the difference is the with a busier sign, but if you just look right here, the biosensors are on the inside. So those are 802.15.4. Your whole body with the biosensors inside and anything else trying to talk to you is 802.15.6. And the
0.5 or 0.4? 0.6 or 0.4?
Yes, sir.
Between the pan and the band, but it has to do with a single human person.
Yes.
And the next point I wanted to make was that these are standards that were developed by the IEEE, which is an acronym for what? Institute for Electronics Engineering something.
Electronics and electrical engineers.
Right. Electronic engineers. Electronic engineering. Anyway, I have it pulled up here, but it's deliberately on purpose confusing so that people are not familiar with the standardization of hacking into our body by the HAL 9000 supercomputer. It's called the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. They define the standards for 802,
yes.
which is a Masonic number, letter of number X. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 is X. Roman numeral X. Anyway, that's 802, and that was created by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. That organization was founded on January 1st, 1963. And even though this is an organization that has over 423,000 paying dues members. So it collects quite a bit of money from, I guess, electronic engineers or firms that are in the business, and their employees are all members of the IEEE. And what I think most people don't understand is that this all started out in Geneva, Switzerland, with the ITU, International Telecommunications Union, which was formed in 1865. Then the Food and Drug Administration in the United States came along in 1906. It was 117 years old. Then we had the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, formed in 1934. That's only 89 years old. Then we had the FAA, okay, which is Federal Avionics, Airwaves, Airplane Traffic. That was formed 1958. And then we had the IEEE of Electrical Engineers, formed 1963. Well, anyway, all of those organizations, the International Telecommunication Union, Geneva, Switzerland, that came first. And it's essentially co-opted every single organization or agency. And the ITU, in case you didn't know, it's part of the United Nations, part of one world order. In other words, the WHO, CERN, and NATO armed forces are the same as the ITU, International Telecommunications. So when you think of this wireless body area network or personal area networks, you should be thinking NATO, because it all has been co-opted to the United Nations, which controls NATO, which controls the FCC, which controls the FDA, which controls the FAA, which is why all the 51,000 airplane traffic over my head, there's no record of it because those transponders are turned off so that the FAA will not take action on illegal airplane flights over civilian population. And the IEEE is designing definitions for the body area network. And this includes Bluetooth and high rate WiPAN, wireless personal area network. There's a whole host of, I think I want to encourage people to go to the links that we'll post regarding the definitions for the medical body area network, the wireless body area network, the wireless personal area network, coexistence, Bluetooth, etc. All right. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say about that, Sabrina. Continue, please.
Well, it is very important to recognize that the ITU is the United Nations standard writers, organizers, that then they disperse out to things like ISO, hardware, and then software standards will be handled by another division to ensure that the hardware and the software work no matter who's plugging it in. Okay. So it all starts at the ITU and then it starts filtering down. And what I've explained on my channel is no mom and pop shop. Like, oh, hey, I'm going to have my own wireless. I'm going to make my own cell phone tower, or I'm going to run my own ISP, internet service provider. No, you are not. There are standards. There are towers. If those towers do not communicate with whatever you've built in your garage, then you're not going to be able to transmit, offer a service. And so it is important to understand that the United Nations runs the ITU. The ITU answers to the United Nations. This is why when folks sometimes ask, can't we just shoot down the 5G towers? This is on my channel. And they say, well, can't we just take the towers down and then we'll be fine? And I've had to explain, no, because the towers are a big, broad sweep of one type of signal. And we have multiple other signals that are coming and going directly from your body's electricity. They don't need a tower to set off a signal in your body.
Right.
And this is something that's really
you're
confused
describing,
folks.
I think, a mesh, that our network is expansive.
Yes.
And it's human to human. It's machine to machine, human to human, machine
And
to
human to machine.
And we have biosensors in the park on the grass, that the grass in the park
Yes.
has GPS tracking biosensors. When your children play in the park, they're playing with biosensors on the lawn, on the grass, in the park. Now, but that said, the big towers, those menacing high energy 5G towers on the perimeter of most towns, do seem to, be a delivery system for enormous amounts of electrical magnetic energy through, the atmosphere and the grids. And then they tap into smaller cells. And of course, I
Mhm.
look up at the sky when they're dumping these materials, and I know that there's an energy field that affects the aluminum, lithium, titanium, metal particulates in the air that obscures the sun and makes the sun glare much worse and pollutes our air into an aerosol toxic waste poison, that they can form clouds and bizarro, super bizarre, non-normal formations in the sky. They
Cloud
can make it look
seeding.
like a chessboard or a checkers board, or they
Yes,
can
sir.
make it look like a cumulus cloud on steroids, or they can make it look like Abraham Lincoln reciting the Gettysburg Address. They can actually form these metal parts into holograms. And then, eventually the little parts come down and we breathe them in, or they get on our skin, or there they are on the blades of grass in the park. Is so it looks like it's an integrated system, but it's kind of hodgepodge mesh. Because if you did take out the big towers, I think that would be good. That would be a good thing. But then you'd still be stuck with the human to human energy fields, because as long as humans are alive and their heart is pulsing, they're emitting electronic magnetic frequency. Just the people are doing that
Well,
without
that's
any equipment.
correct. And that's part of the big reason why I'm trying to help folks understand the paper that we're going to talk about mostly in the second part of our interview here. That is the
Yes.
6G that is already deployed. It is
Yes.
not on its way, it is here. And those 6G metamaterials are running more with optogenetics, mesh networking with little air particulate that has more or less metals, alloys, and other synthetic
Yeah. There's
metamaterials.
like, could graphene be in there?
Of course,
Okay.
along with many other
Plastics.
plastics, yes, sir. And so
Okay.
what we have is we have body area networks that don't need those 5G towers. The 5G is a huge cycle of energy, and it
Right.
is insufficient for the pencil beam precision, for the millimeter wave precision AI healthcare. It boosts what they're doing. But what
Yeah.
most people don't know
Well,
is
yeah, 5G doesn't travel well, right? So
correct.
it needs smaller cells
Yes.
closer in to the people.
Also, propagation through water, which our bodies are mostly water,
Right.
becomes problematic. So, what most people don't know, the biosensors here on the sign that I hold up became commercialized with Zigbee and Bluetooth in 2005. 2005, okay, almost 20 years ago,
Yeah.
for virtual light communication, which is your optogenetics networks that only need a body because you're already electrical. We're a natural antenna. Okay. So, with the advent of all these biosensors, most people also don't know the metamaterials were dispersed, discussed, injected, and toyed with in 2011. They've been working out the standards for something called the cyber physical backbone with your IEEE since 2017. The shot wasn't offered to the public until 2019. That's because of the next chunk of our discussion, which is your cyber physical interface with the
Oh,
National
yes.
Institute of Science and Technology. I
Well,
think it's important to help folks understand that the shot is only one vector of
right.
delivery because they did not offer you a new technology. They literally hijacked your natural electrical anatomy back in 1995 with the original body area network. In 2005, giving the ability to any construction worker, all right, anybody who could install these specialized visible light communication with optogenetics, anybody. And then they started using it in entertainment, to open a door with their hand. Oh, this is so cool. What they did not tell anyone was the 2011 deployment of all these metamaterials, which then start augmenting and causing problems, which is exactly what we visibly watched with our animals, our water, our air, and the dementia issues, which only worsened when
Right.
people did take in more graphene healthcare. And all of that is for your cyber physical interface. It is a biological interface that uses your body's natural electricity, your body's natural DNA to electrically move in and out of your cellular states. And that's precision
Now,
AI healthcare.
would they use optogenetics at a Taylor Swift concert or
Oh, yes.
a rave event,
They've been, some people online have
light
asked,
show?
yes, they do. They hand out at the concerts, they hand out little special apps for your phone, special wearables to put on your wrist. And people have already online been complaining of severe memory loss after the show because they're using this equipment with the optogenetics in the eyes. There was a Lana Del Rey show in which people literally just fell over in a wave because as the
You're right.
frequency went out in that direction, there was another show with some rapper, Travis something, I think, same
Right.
thing. Big wave goes out and a bunch of people only in that area of the crowd tip right over. These are very powerful systems of electricity, and
Right.
nobody knows that. They think they're entertainment toys because,
Right.
again, going off of the delivery, the selling of all this to people with no knowledge that their anatomy is involved at all, they think they're just putting on a wearable and seeing a really cool extra or additional data for the show. Now they're interfacing inside of you with those biosensors and
Right.
bioinformatics with that black box that's cybersecurity.
Well, sadly, nothing's changed because I went to a Grateful Dead concert one time in my whole life in the 70s. Yeah, because everyone was, not everyone, but some of my friends were recommending the Jerry Garcia Grateful Dead, which is a CIA created, CIA, military intelligence act. And I'm just telling you from what happened. I went to the Oakland Auditorium at Lake Merritt. I walked up the cement stairs, went right through the front door. First person I saw approached me. It was a fellow a little older than me, and he asked me if I wanted to purchase some window pane. He asked if I wanted window pane. I said, "Oh, I'm not a homeowner. I don't need any windows." And he said, "No, LSD, dummy."
Yep.
And I thought, well, no. And then I went brushed past him into the concert where I opened the door and you saw the kettle drums and Jerry Garcia and just smoke billowed out from
Yes.
the show because of all the marijuana and hashish. And I don't know if anyone was smoking cigarettes, but I was overwhelmed by the smoke. And I thought to myself, what is this? That these are all stoned, zoned out people. And then so I waited, I was there for about 45 minutes, listening to the kettle drums, this melodic deal. And I kept expecting a different song, but all the songs were the same. They were the same melodic beat, and everybody was stoned.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's like a Taylor Swift concert today where they're getting optical laser beam mind controlled.
Even more simple than that, sir. It's called
Yeah.
wireless drugging. It is part of
Oh,
precision AI healthcare. Some people use it already for, again, different ways to have something under the skin that releases endoscopy. You take a bioelectroceutical pill that opens up inside of you. Once you put that wearable on in the concert,
yes.
your biosensors in the body are now subjected to whatever signal they are broadcasting. Wireless drugging is in our nature journals. It is part of precision AI healthcare.
Wow.
So let's say that in your case there at the Grateful Dead, you didn't want to take the window pane.
Right.
Now you don't get a choice.
They give it to you
It is being
if you're in the
electrically
venue.
modified in the venue. And I'm not saying that they're using LSD. I am not asserting what they are doing, but certainly they are doing something when they engage your bioelectricity, and they are not telling you what that will be. It is for them to know and for you to maybe remember.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this is a good time to conclude part one, and then we'll have part two coming up. So stay tuned. Maybe you might want to get an adult beverage because Sabrina's going to touch on some areas, but she's also going to have some mitigation and helpful suggestions on how we can minimize our exposure to this type of military NATO attack. All right, so Sabrina, we'll see you on the other side. Let's hit end recording, and then we'll come back in a few minutes. So let me do that
Thank you,
now.
sir.
You're welcome.